What if adding more colors is the real reason your lighting keeps falling apart? This is Ray17, a Chinese freelance illustrator well known for her insane holographic lighting. She's a character designer and cover artist for Mori Calliope, Tamao-sen and more, with collabs from Hatsune Miku to Gintama. But what intrigues me most is how these random pastel and saturated colors come together into Ray's signature holographic style. How does she do it? What rules and secret techniques does she use? So in this video I'll be recreating this piece from scratch, taking you through my journey of uncovering Ray's secrets, showing how Ray's workflow can help you easily combine colors to create pop lighting. Previously, I explained how top anime artists work with light and colors, so I was 1,000,000% sure this would be easy. Yeah, it was nothing like I expected. I was overwhelmed by how many colors were packed into the same area. I spent hours testing every trick I knew, but nothing worked. I couldn't figure out why one sleeve had 9 different colors. How does color even work with light? How to pick so many complex hues and keep them under control? Hoping to find answers, I analyzed this illustration more closely. At first, the lighting looked strange. It seemed to shine everywhere. Wait, don't tell me, is the title lighting everything around? Who even thinks of using text as a light source? And it didn't stop there. At the edge of light and shadows, there is always a new color. And those saturated colors look like highlights, but only compared to what's around them. On their own, they are not that intense. Even the line art isn't black. Ray colors it too, making the lines part of the palette. Looking closer at that unusual lighting, I realized another thing. For all the chaos of colors, the value stays suspiciously clear and readable, but that still doesn't explain how she combines them. At that point, I thought maybe the answer was just the real holographic effect after all, so I decided to check it. And it's not. At least not in its pure form. She only took the idea of using as many colors as possible. So that was it. Feeling lost again, I started looking at more of Ray's illustrations and noticed something interesting. Take this ribbon. The value stays simple, but it's rainbow. Oh here, this orange transition has the same value as the light itself. Over and over, her extra colors match the value right next to them. Almost like she just shifts the hue of what's already there. And I think I found real proof of it here. Look closely. That bright pink highlight breaking right under the light blue shine in the hair. So does this mean Ray just built the volume with basic colors and only later adds new hues of the same value to expand the palette? To test that idea, I went back to one of her work from 2017. She was already using holographic lighting back then, but in a much simpler way. I decided to limit myself to a single character, so I thought this time I could finally make it work. I started with flat colors, then added some simple lighting. After that, I began adding new colors to the skin, some warm gradients, a few soft dark shadows, a slightly lighter shade to give it volume, and at the edges between light and shadow a saturated line of scattering. Then I moved on to the hair and did the same thing, only this time I added a new saturated highlight. I thought I was done, but realized I'd forgotten the line art. So I colored that too. And honestly, it turned out way better than I expected. As a process, it felt like a great discovery, but at the same time it still felt like just copying, and I didn't get how Ray picked her colors. Here it looked almost grey, but there it was too bright and saturated. While I was searching for answers, I found a few of Ray's older works, and to my surprise they revealed some really important details. As you can see, her line art looks rough, almost like a draft, but instead of redrawing it clean, she refines it with lasso. It's a huge time saver and keeps the shapes clear. Should take note. But what's more important is that she starts with darker base colors, probably to make it easier to add light and brighter shades inside the shadows. That's why studying her 2017 works was easier. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. But then, this. If that really is the next step, no wonder her art feels almost impossible to analyze. I was already thinking I'd have to end with that idea, but then I found a real treasure that completely changed the game. quick environment studies by Ray. In just an hour or two, she turned to a plain photo into a stunning atmospheric illustration, and that's what the proof I'd been looking for. Why was this such an important find? Because it's the same step she does right after the rough line art in her full pieces, and this finally confirmed my theory about her colors. Looking closer, I noticed those grey shades don't flip to the opposite color like you'd expect. They stay close to the main one, and that's the key. I found the explanation for this trick in one of most important books for any artist, Johannes Itten's The Art of Color. It covers many principles of color, and one of them, which I thought was useless for years, is simultaneity. Basically, colors can trick your eyes. Put gray next to yellow and it suddenly looks blue, almost like a complementary color. Ray uses this effect all the time, just in a softer way. Look here, the whole room feels like it's lit with warm yellow light, right? But it's actually just a desaturated blue. Same with the skin here. That cool shade isn't even blue, it's just a desaturated red. And this next discovery was my favorite part of the whole study, because it finally answered the biggest question. What are those saturated colors really for? Why does she use them? And how to even choose the right ones? See what happens if you take them out? Everything feels flat and boring. Ray uses saturated colors to push the complementary feel that comes from the desaturated one. Like, if a desaturated blue is used to mimic yellow light, then adding a touch of saturated yellow makes the illusion much stronger. That's why you see those orange accents on the fabric. They push the holographic effect of Ray's style even further. Choosing colors isn't always easy, and the best way to handle it is by planning the wall illustration first. That's why I included a universal art planner in my free Adapt kit. Grab it in the description. With all that knowledge, I finally felt ready to take on the boss of this study. This time I filled everything with darker shades first and moved on to the background. I can say this is exactly Ray's workflow, but working like this, the whole process felt simple and logical. Here is the rule I use. After filling with a dark base, add lighter, less saturated shadows from the close hue. If the base is blue, you can shift into violet or light blue, making them a bit lighter helps to build volume. Accent colors are different. They are brighter, more saturated, and can sit farther from the base color, like this minty green. And the very last step is the highlights. The strongest accents are the most vivid complementary ones, pushing the contrast against all the muted colors. But sometimes she even adds these weird, oversaturated dark colors as accents. I can't explain how, maybe it's the blending modes, but it still works as long as the values don't break. Next, I went over the clothes, cloak, skin and hair the same way, piece by piece, always sticking to the rule. At the end, I colored the liner to really bring out Ray's holographic effect. When everything was done, I refined the face and hair, and for the final touch, added a few particles, some background stars, and the sliced text effect. Ray's tricks are a great starting point for building your own style. Her colors create depth and details where you least expect them, and that's what gives her work that unique holographic pop lighting effect. But Ray isn't the only one with secrets like this. I'll show you how other top artists use lighting to control their illustration in the next video.